Hello students, class 12 ला माने CBSE जन पढ़ुछ से माने physics first chapter that is electric charges and field. Electric charges and field रे ଗୋଟେ electric field ଅଛି ଗୋଟେ electric charges ଅଛି. Electric charges रे कौन formula रही right? से formula को details लिखि देली हम formula को मन रखिया पड़े तुमको और formula रे पूरा information details हमें पढ़ेबा वीडियो टिके तो डिस्कशन करथि प्रीवियस वीडियो देखिबो थिबो किंतु एठी मु होची आज सम आज टोटल गोटी एट ए टाइम गोटी सब दो फॉर्मूला गोटे डिस्कस करूची जोटा कि केवल चार्ज पार्ट अछि पुनी इलेक्ट्रिकल फील्ड रो अलग फॉर्मूला राइट तो एबे हम देखिबा q = ne तो q = ne रे फर्स्ट फॉर्मूला q = ne q फॉर व्हाट q हला चार्ज n हला नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स e हला चार्ज ऑफ वन इलेक्ट्रॉन्स ए q हला चार्ज दिस इज वेयर q = चार्ज बोर्ड देखा हो ठीक से स्पेस अच्छे लिखिया पे ओके तो q = what in this three part that q = what that is charge right this is a charge or quantity of charge okay देखा जाउची q is the charge and n is equal to what n is equal to number of electron n is number of electron okay and e is equal to charge of one electron that is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 819 coulomb right. So this is your what? This is about this part Q and E. एक part टा सरी गला तो Q हला quantity of charge मन रखिबो केते what Q is the symbol that is charge and A is the number of electron and E is the charge of one electron. गोटे Q माने केते हम चार्ज करछे हम सब हिसाब करबा केतेटा इलेक्ट्रॉन पास कला केते नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स केते गोटे इलेक्ट्रॉन चार्ज केते अकॉर्डिंगली टोटल चार्ज केते पास कर था राइट. So this part finished, this part is finished. ओके बुझी पारलो q ध्यान दे मन को बार बार प्रैक्टिस करो q = क्वांटिटी ऑफ चार्ज q is quantity of charge q quantity of charge n is the number of electron e is the charge of one electron सॉरी गला q = ne क्लियर ताको बेस करके जहां फार्मूला डिस्कशन होबो जहां न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होबो ताको हमें करि परिबा राइट. तो q हला ne सॉरी गला फार्मूला ये पार्ट डिस्कशन सॉरी गला ओके ए पार्ट हमरा कम सॉरी कर राइट तक मो लिबे यूज राइट 1 2 3 खत्म देन हम डिस्कस करिवा एठी मास ऑफ m0 and 1 minus v square by c square what is this is a mass जेतोले गोटे बॉडी रो every object has a mass m is a mass that is m0 is a original mass suppose first initial mass केते थिला तापर जो गोटे बॉडी टा कहतले लाइट रो स्पीड रो अधिक स्पीड रे जीवो बा वेलोसिटी ऑफ लाइट रो अधिक वेलोसिटी बॉडी टा मूव करिवो ताले तार मास रे किछि चेंजेस आसीबो से जो नुवा मास टा हो दैट इज इक्वल टू व्हाट m0 by m that is equal to m is equal to new mass this m0 is equal to original mass and then that is 1 minus v is the velocity of body जो बॉडी टा वेलोसिटी गला बा जो बॉडी टा हमें गला जो वेलोसिटी रे मूव गला राइट जो वेलोसिटी बॉडी एते स्पीड जाउची जोटा कि लाइट रो स्पीड सी हला वेलोसिटी ऑफ लाइट रो स्पीड रे अधिक हेई गला तले सी वेलोसिटी केते सेटा हिसाब करबा तो गोटे साइंटिस्ट माने ऑलरेडी कैलकुलेशन कर दैचंती तो एठी हम देखियो जे जो नुवा मास जदि 5 केजी थिला से बहुत स्पीड रे जाए हुए तो तार मास रे किछि स्लाइटली डिफरेंस आसे सेटा से लिखिछि तो हम बय देखियो देखिबो दिस इज तो mass difference as well too. This is the mass difference. Okay. Yes. The effect of the speed. Yes. ये तुम बाय देखे तुमरे तुमरे लिखी थी. The effect of the speed on mass of electric charges. According to that is a special theory of relativity. The mass of a body increase with its speed according with the relation. While m is the rest body. When m0 is the mass of the rest body, this is m0 is the mass of the rest body, and yes, this is the velocity of body, and c is the speed of light. Yes, so same thing I told. This is m is the new mass of the body when moving with the velocity v. Yes, so this is m0 is the mass of body at rest. M is a mass of body when moving with velocity v, okay, and c is the velocity of body, right? and c is the velocity of light in vacuum. Okay, तो ये जो कथा आसला velocity of light in vacuum, that is c is the velocity of light in vacuum, the speed of light, right? So this it is after that ये जो डाटा निकाला ये फॉर्मूला पाई, so it is after that definitely the m is greater than m0, right? So this is what? This is new, this is at rest, this is at rest, and this is in motion, right? In motion. যেতে বডিটা মুভমেন্ট করতো velocity of light টু অধিক স্পিডে যাউথিব এটা কেতବେଳେ না when the c v is greater than c, in that case when the v is greater than c, is c যদি greater than c রে যাউথিব at that time তাহলে v টা বড় থিব c ঠারু, তো নো ডাউট দিস ভ্যালু ইজ what, এই v টা বড় c ঠু, তাহলে এটা समथिंग আসিব কোন 1 something c is 1 minus that মানে 1 টু কম আসিব। So h value da c the value da comparatively smaller than this one, so this value and the square root of this one, no doubt this value will be less than 1, but pura value is what, this is 1, this is not exactly 1, but this value is exactly v square velocity of light slightly increase, so that square root of that part, okay, square root of that part will be what, this is a new value will come, that mass will be new mass, that is the mass of the substance, mass of the body when it is moving with a velocity greater than the velocity of light. Okay, and if the v is smaller than that, v is smaller than the light, therefore m0 is greater than m0. So it is like that it contrasts to the mass, the charge of body remains constant, does not change, the speed of the body changes. Yes, so it like এটি যেম কইলি জাস্ট এটা উল্টা করলি সরি, তো এটা হচ্ছে স্মলার দেন, ওকে, যদি স্পিড অফ লাইট ভেলোসিটি অফ লাইট, যদি ভেলোসিটি অফ লাইট এই লাইট টু টিকে কম রহিব, যদি দেখতো মানে এটা কম থিব না, তো ফাইনালি এই ভ্যালুটা আসিব কোন লেস দেন 1 আসি যাব, কারণ মোর দেন যদি এটা গ্রেটার আসি গলা, ভিটা গ্রেটার আসি গলা, তাহলে কোন হবে, এটা মোর দেন 1 হই যাব। ওকে, তো সেতিপাই এটা এইটা সবলে মনে রাখিতা, এটা স্মলার আসিব, এটা গ্রেটার আসিব। तो velocity of light to टिके slightly कम थिबो, ओके, जेतले देखिबा ते body is increase with its speed according to the relation, the velocity of light in contrast of to mass, the change of the body remains constant and does not change as the speed of the body changes, okay, so that means same thing I told, okay, that is the speed of an electrically charged particle affect its mass and change. Yes, যেতବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ ଚାର୍ଜ ପାର୍ଟିକଲ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ କରିବ ଆଉ ସେଟା ପୁଣି ତାର ଭେଲୋସିଟି ଅଫ ଲାଇଟ୍ର ପାଖାପାଖି କମ୍ ଥିବ, ମାନେ ଟିକେ ଭେଲୋସିଟି ଅଫ ଲାଇଟ୍ର କମ୍ ଥିବ, ମାନେ ଚାର୍ଜ ପାର୍ଟିକଲର ସ୍ପିଡ଼ଟା ଲାଇଟ୍ର ଭେଲୋସିଟିରୁ ଟିକେ କମ୍ ଥିବ ଯେତେବେଳେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ସ୍ପିଡ଼ଟା ଅଧିକ ଥିବ, ନର୍ମାଲ ସ୍ପିଡ଼ରୁ ଅଧିକ ଥିବ, ସେତେବେଳେ ତାର ମାସରେ ଟିକେ ଚେଞ୍ଜେସ୍ ଆସିବ ବା ଟିକେ ଇଫେକ୍ଟ ପକେଇବ, ଓକେ, ସେଇଟା କହୁଛି ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ୱିଲ୍ ବି ଦିସ୍ ୱିଲ୍ ଇଜ୍ କମିଂ ଫ୍ରମ୍ ଗ୍ରେଟର ଦ୍ୟାନ୍ ଦିସ୍ ମାସ୍, ରେଷ୍ଟ ଗୋଟେ ଯାହା ଥିଲା ମୁଭିଂ ବଡ଼ିରେ ଟିକେ ଭ୍ୟାରି କରିବ, ओके, बुझेला, तो एटा के कंफ्यूज होबो, एटा सबले कोन करबो, दिस वन इज स्मॉलर देन सी, ओके, सी टू टिके स्मॉलर आसीबो, किन पूरा वैल्यूटा ए भले आसला, साइंटिस्ट माने हिसाब कर देले, राइट, ये सही गला। तब आसला नेक्स्ट आसला ये 1 2 3 4 कंप्लीटेड, देन आसला कोन आसला सब तक डिस्कशन करबे, हम चेष्टा करछे। देन फोर्स, कूलम्ब्स लॉ एंड व्हाट इज कूलम्ब्स लॉ, so Coulomb's law it achi, Coulomb's law is equal to what, that is when two charges are placed here, suppose q1 and q2 are two charges, q1 and q2 are two charges, the distance between them is r, the force of attraction between two charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, अर्थात it is charge रहेगा, लेवल लिखते f is proportional to direct proportional to q1 q2 and f is inversely proportional to r square as a whole this term, okay, so f is equal to k into q1 q2 a r square, because this one is equal to f is proportional to q1 q2 by r square, right, so finally this value k, okay, so f is equal to k into q1 q2 by r square, clear, okay, so this is k for what, that is what, that is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, so 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught value is equal to this Newton meter square coulomb, this is your coulomb now, this is coulomb, this is your distance is meter, coulomb square, okay, meter square, ओके कूलम स्क्वायर मीटर स्क्वायर एंड मीटर स्क्वायर ऊपर वाला अपना ऑटोमेटिकली এটা হলো মিটার স্কয়ার কে এর ভ্যালু না তো মিটার স্কয়ার মাল্টিপ্লাই হলো নিউটন ইনটু মিটার স্কয়ার বাই কুলম স্কয়ার তাহলে বুঝিলা না এটা হিসাব এমতি দেখো না এটা মার্ক কর গোটা কথা সব সেট করে দଉଛି কেমতি নিউটন তার यूनिट সেটিং ହେଇଛି यूनिट সেটিং কেমতি দেখো यूनिट रे f is equal to what f is equal to k into q1 q2 by r square Newton is equal to k into Coulomb square by meter square. So Newton into meter square by Coulomb square is equal to k. Okay. So finally that is equal to n meter square Coulomb minus 2. Yes, that value is k. Okay. The value unit will come like that. Okay. Finished. Sorry, the value of k I also have to remember 9 into 10 to the power 9. Okay, 9 into 10 to the 9 Newton meter square minus finished. This part finished. Okay, sorry. So where F for force of attraction, Q is a charge and charge. This is Q is a charge. Once again, I am letting this is F. This is a force of attraction, force, and Q1 and Q2 two charges. Two charges. Okay, then K constant that equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. The symbol that is value is equal to 9 into 10 to the power 9. Okay, value is this one. And the symbol will be Newton meter square Coulomb minus 2. Coulomb minus 2. This is all these values. Okay, sorry, then this formula also completed. Okay. Next, E already told, this one already told, finished. Then 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q r square, yes, this is already told. This formula. This one is a vacuum. In vacuum, remember, in vacuum. Okay. So this is epsilon 0 is epsilon naught. Epsilon naught is written, and in medium, any particular medium, this is called 1 by 4 pi epsilon. So that is the relative permittivity. E r relative permittivity. That is relative permittivity. Okay. Relative permittivity. Okay. What is this? This is E. That is epsilon by epsilon naught. Epsilon by epsilon, that is k. That is k is equal to, that is relative permittivity. The permittivity that is constant. Okay. And that value is equal to E r relative permittivity, or that is equal to k. Okay. That value. So in vacuum, F vacuum divided by F medium. If F vacuum by F medium, so 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 Q2 by R square divided by 1 by 4 pi epsilon into Q1 Q2 by R square. So ये cancel. Then final answer 4 pi cancel. 1 by epsilon naught. Okay. Into epsilon by 1, or that you know epsilon by epsilon naught, right? So this is equal to what? This ratio gives the value is E by E naught. That E naught, that is the K, and that K value term. So this ratio, the force of vacuum by force of particular medium, that ratio is given that what? That is constant. Okay, and that value gives that. This is the ratio for the permittivity of medium of permittivity is called relative permittivity. So relative permittivity, this is a vacuum by a given medium. The force of attraction between two charges in the vacuum divided by force of attraction between two charges in a particular medium. That ratio gives the relative permittivity. Okay, and this value k is coming this much. Okay, finished. So you practice करियो, बहुत practice दरकार charges ऊपर. ये सरिगला, ये पार्ट सरिगला, permittivity से सब ये पार्ट completed, पूरा fully part completed. Okay, this part completed. Next, medium, same thing, 12 also completed. Okay, this is a F vacuum by Fk. Okay, then 12 F1. So if the force, suppose there is a Q charge Q1, right, from the axis Q1, Q2, Q3, so many charges are there. Okay, so Q1 and Q2, this is a Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, like that, Q5. So many charges are there. According to superposition principle, there is also another formula, superposition principle. That value is also given. Okay, देखिए that पूरा कौन देखिए same Q1, Q2, yes. Then Q1, Q2. So that is Q3 and Q1. Oh yes, on Q1. So many. This is a Q. This is charge is Q1, and on Q1, if the total net force of attraction on Q1, that is force F1. So here that force on F1, this is a Q1, that is equal to F1. So on Q1, that is F1, the net force on F1, this is F1. So F1 on Q1, so that is equal to the charge on Q1 by Q2 by Q3 by Q4 by Q, like that, by Qn. So this is a force on F1. This is a force on F2 on Q2. This is a force on Q1 and this is force on Q2, like that. So this is here called the superposition principle. Superposition means the total force acting on the Q1 is equal to net force. So the force add karwa net force acting on the Q1. So this is two formula done. Then F12, the force F12, the force acting on 1 by 2. On 1 by 2, that's representation is like that. तब लिखिए यदि on 1 by 2 किंबा on 2 by 1 जहाँ लिखिए से अनुसार accordingly formula create बनेगा, right? जब तक मैं लिखूँ जो 1 to कौन नहीं चल on 1 by 2 लिखिलो तो से अनुसार सब जहाँ दरकार formula था से वाला repeat करियो. यदि 2 1 करियो तले on 2 by 1 तो ये लिखिए में on 1 by 2 on 1 by 2. Okay, this is Q1 Q2 by this distance of R1 R1 to the position vector. Okay, the position vector of 1, that is R12. Position vector of R12. Yes. So this is your what? R12. This is a position vector. Position vector. Okay. R12 unit vector. That is unit vector. Okay, and this formula is equal to, as well as same formula, that is equal to R12 is equal to R12. Normally in a vector, what happened? Suppose look at here. What happened there? This is a vector R square. That is general formula. What? This is equal to R. That is equal to A cap. Suppose A cap is equal to A vector A divided by, okay, A vector, this is A vector divided by A vector mode, or that is equal to A cap is equal to A vector by A. Okay, so this is equal to A vector. So A vector is equal to A cap. A vector is equal to A cap into A. This expression, okay, in a vector chapter, like that, I can also write this one, right? So same thing also happened here. Look at here. So if I write the same formula here, look at here. This is R12 cap, that is equal to R1 minus R2 vector. Okay. This is R1 R2 vector divided by R1 minus R2 mode, right? So R12 cap this one, and R12 is equal to R1 minus R2. This is your R12. So R12 is this one is R12. Normally R12. Okay. So R12. This is R1 minus R2. How? This is R1 minus R2 mode. This is R12. Understood? So R12 mode, that is equal to, suppose you know, already you know that one. Suppose this one is like this. Okay. This is R1. R12. Suppose this is R12. This is R12, and this is your R. No, this is not this R12. This is R. This is Q1. This is your Q2. This is R1, and this is R2. So unit that is R1 on 1 by 2. This one is this distance is R1 1 2. So r1 is this, r1 minus r2. Okay, r1 minus this plus this one. Okay, remember r2 vector plus r12 vector is equal to r1. So finally r12 vector is equal to r1 minus r2. Clear? So r12 vector mode is equal to r1 vector minus r2 vector mode, or r12 is equal to r1 minus r2 vector, right? This is modulus. Finished? This case happened in case of a vector form, right? So that you have to remember. Finished? Okay, sorry तो ये completely short of हमला completely charge part रा मन रखने को पड़ेगा। एतिक मन रखला पड़े next हम field को next chapter discussion करेगा। Okay, जल्दी कुछ बात तो टिक के chance देना होता है। ठीक है, चांस दिया पर नेक्स्ट आउट पड़ेगा तुम किसी डाउट पचारो किसी ना किसी डिस्कस करो। ओके, आओ जल्दी भल लगे निश्चय शेयर करो, सब्सक्राइब करो, लाइक करो, तो किसी ना किसी कमेंट लिखो। तो मु गोटे बड़ प्रोफेशनल यूट्यूबर नुहे, मु खाली जस्ट ट्यूशन करे पिला पढ़ाए स्कूल रे, तो या क्लास करे, तो आ भितर मझे मझे तो फ्री टाइम पाइले गोटे गोटे पिला टॉपिक बुझाई दे। ओके, तो सही हिसाब से टाइमटा गोटे ऐसा पास कराए। ओके, पिला किसी फायदा हो, मोर भी किसी रिविजन हो लाइक दैट। सो डेफिनेटली आई नीड योर सपोर्ट to improve more quality of teaching. Okay, thank you, have a nice day.